Has a US warship just broken a record at sea, or does this milestone actually highlight dangerously poor military management at a time when America needs its fleet at full strength? With the USS Abraham Lincoln at sea for more than 200 consecutive days, is Donald Trump quietly draining one of his best military resources right when he needs it most against Iran? Is America's 11-ship carrier fleet now juggling China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran all at once, leaving absolutely no slack for the next crisis that could erupt without warning? If America's most powerful warships are being pushed to the breaking point, how will Donald Trump sustain a credible military campaign against Mojtaba Khamenei through a long and punishing conflict? Amid ongoing Iran war operations, the U.S. supercarrier USS Abraham Lincoln has broken a record for continuous time at sea, a milestone that reveals how hard the Navy is being pushed. Fires, electrical faults, and propulsion problems have recently struck multiple U.S. warships operating near the Iran theater, producing mission disruptions and raising urgent questions about safety and operational sustainability. Analysts warn these incidents are not isolated accidents but rather symptoms of broader systemic pressure on the fleet, driven by high deployment tempo, aging systems, and strained logistics chains. A Chinese outlet suggested the fleet's troubles stem largely from management and maintenance shortfalls, pointing to paperwork gaps, delayed overhauls, and weaknesses in shoreside support as key contributors. The article in Naval and Merchant Ships, summarized by Military Watch on July 9th, compiled a series of high-profile mishaps to underpin its critique of U.S. naval readiness. The report cited problems aboard the USS Ford and Zumwalt classes, as well as incidents involving the USS Eisenhower and the USS Higgins, using these cases to highlight recurring technical and design vulnerabilities. Excessive deployments, extremely complex onboard technology, and inadequate shipyard capacity were flagged as root causes that together create repair backlogs and shorten effective service life windows. The Chinese analysis argues that growing non-combat losses, from fires to mechanical failures, are steadily eroding the U.S. fleet's available combat power and increasing operational risk during crises. One cited incident saw dozens of sailors fall ill on the USS Nebraska after generator malfunction reportedly released diesel exhaust into living compartments, prompting medical treatment and inquiries. A laundry room fire on the USS Gerald R. Ford was linked in the coverage to maintenance deficits and crew fatigue, an episode critics say exemplifies the human and technical costs of current sustainment shortfalls. Chinese analysts warn that hidden risks can accumulate across both complex hardware systems and crew well-being, creating latent vulnerabilities that only become apparent when multiple small failures coincide under operational stress. They say those problems could quickly spiral out of control if sustained operational pressure, deferred maintenance, and logistical shortfalls continue to grow, turning isolated faults into cascading crises that threaten mission readiness. The USS Zumwalt and its sister ships have faced repeated technical setbacks despite their revolutionary design, with high expectations undermined by recurring reliability and systems integration challenges in real deployments. Their integrated power system, promoted as a major technological advance, has proved far harder to operate and maintain than planners anticipated, demanding specialized support and extended dockyard time that reduce operational availability. Mechanical failures, propulsion breakdowns, and persistent software issues have sliced into ship availability across classes, forcing commanders to curtail deployments or reallocate assets to cover capability gaps. Cost overruns have ballooned program expenses, making Zumwalt-class vessels among the world's most expensive combat ships at roughly $8 billion apiece, a figure that fuels debate over procurement priorities and affordability. Experts say modern U.S. warships function like floating power plants combined with distributed computer networks, which boosts capability but also multiplies potential failure points and cyber-technical dependencies. Highly integrated electrical systems now tie together sensors, propulsion, radar, weapons, and communications tightly, meaning faults in one domain can propagate quickly and disable multiple mission-critical functions. Fires that originate in electrical gear are harder to isolate and suppress on these integrated platforms than on older, simpler ship designs, complicating damage control efforts and increasing the risk of secondary system failures. Increased automation has reduced crew complements but not necessarily lowered operational risk, because fewer hands are available for continuous monitoring, maintenance, and immediate damage control when fires, flooding, or mechanical breakdowns occur. Smaller crews translate into fewer personnel for damage control when emergencies strike, stretching human capacity precisely when rapid, coordinated action is most needed to prevent escalation. Critics argue the US tried to field too many unproven technologies simultaneously on frontline warships, creating integration and sustainment problems that only become fully visible under prolonged operational use. A military advisor to Iran's supreme leader has said that Tehran will never relinquish control of the Strait of Hormuz, a waterway it sees as vital to its strategic leverage. Mohsen Rezai firmly declared that Iran will retain control of the strait and will never surrender what it considers a critical national asset. Iranian officials have described the Strait of Hormuz as a strategic deterrent against their adversaries, underscoring its importance in any regional confrontation. Rezai said Iran would defend its interests using its own military capabilities, signaling that Tehran intends to rely on force rather than compromise. He also vowed revenge, saying that Khamenei's killing will not go unanswered, in a statement that sharply escalated the rhetoric. "They killed our father," Rezai roared, reviving Iran's revenge pledge and adding even more intensity to the already explosive message. His remarks came just hours after Mojtaba Khamenei said that avenging his father is the nation's demand, framing retaliation as a national duty. Mojtaba Khamenei further insisted that revenge will certainly be carried out, suggesting that retaliation is not just possible, but inevitable. Hours before that, Trump warned Iran that 1,000 U.S. missiles were ready to strike, raising the stakes even further. Trump threatened overwhelming retaliation over any assassination attempt, making clear that the response would be severe and immediate.